Time for a Vantage exclusive. The global order is shifting. Western powers are facing upheaval. Donald Trump's unpredictable moves have added to the turmoil. Europe stands at a crossroads, and the rest of the world is thinking, how should we respond? Our guest tonight believes that India could offer some lessons. Dr. Kyung-wha Kang says the world is studying India's playbook. Until recently, she was South Korea's foreign minister, the first woman to hold the post. She now leads the Asia Society, which is a prominent think tank. Earlier today, I sat down with her. Dr. Kang praised India's strategic autonomy. She also addressed Trump's foreign policy. In her view, he is better prepared this time, and countries like South Korea must be ready for his moves, especially for a new wave of tariffs. Here's an excerpt from that conversation. Dr. Kang, welcome to Firstpost.
Thank you for having me.
You worked with the first Trump administration when you were in government, and now as somebody who's still tracking policy and moves from the outside very closely. What difference do you see in their approach? Is this a more determined, more focused administration? Is it a more...
President Trump during his first term was, yes, he was there, but you also had many traditionalist diplomats, securocrats who had their way of doing things vis-a-vis president's unconventional way of doing things, and the two combined to, I think, temper his excesses, if I may put it that way. This time he's come back fully prepared. He had think tanks preparing projects for him, for example, the Heritage Foundation's project to 2025. And so that's why from day one he's able to declare various kinds of executive orders. I think now we count nearly 100 or even over 100, and bills introduced into the Congress. So clearly much more prepared, and also surrounded by much more loyalists around him than the previous administrations. Yes, he's very emboldened and very unrestrained in moving in the direction that he wants to.
Most capitals in the world are trying to gear up to respond to Trump's moves. What complicates the story, especially for South Korea, is the fact that you have an ongoing political crisis and an impeachment process. How does it impact your preparedness to respond?
Well, I think clearly it has had a huge negative impact. The country has been in limbo since the day the president declared martial law in early December. And this impeachment, the process has been so long. The Constitutional Court has been deliberating, and it's taking its time to come out with a decision. In the meanwhile, the country has been unable to move on. The economy was in a very difficult situation even prior to the martial law declaration, and in the middle of this lack of national leadership. So in the midst of this, the country seems to have lost sight of where is the economy, and we know, given the Trump tariff measures, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a way to deal with these tariffs coming our way. And currently, you really need that highest level of authority to go to have that discussion with the highest authority in the United States and other countries, to be able to respond as effectively as they could, and this is just not happening.
And the tariff deadline is approaching, April 2nd.
April 2nd, we'll see how that is. The declaration is. Will it be across the board, or will it be country by country? Will it be sector specific? So there's a lot of details that we won't know until that day comes.
You mentioned having a conversation with Minister Jaishankar, and in that conversation you also hailed India's policy of non-alignment and strategic autonomy. How do you see Prime Minister Modi's approach to foreign policy and the way he has shaped India's relationship with the world?
I think very admirable. I mean, the domestic leadership and all the reforms, and the minister being the face of advocating for India's national interests on the global stage has been one of the more capable performances as foreign minister that I could see. So India creating that space for an independent foreign policy stance. I think non-alignment is not the word used currently. The minister used multipolarity, I think is the word. But, and that ability to create these new, capturing the fluidity in these conceptual terms, I think is a clear indication of India's, if I may put it, creativity. And with that creativity, creating this space, autonomous, strategic space for strategic autonomy and multipolarity. So yes, I think lots of people are looking at India's playbook to see how we position ourselves in this changing global dynamics.
Dr. Kyung-wha Kang, thank you very much for this conversation and for sharing your insights.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.